Just sit back and relax. You'll laugh or you can laugh. We're Animaniacs. Come join the Warner Brothers
and the Warner Sister Dot.
Just for fun, we run around the Warner movie lot. They lock us in the tower whenever we get caught.
Hi, and welcome to the Animaniacs DVD Special Features. I'm your host, Maurice LaMarche, and we're going to step into the Wayback Machine at Warner Brothers Animation with the original Animaniacs actors Rob Paulsen, Tress MacNeille, and Jess Harnell.
Hey, hi, guys. How you doing?
Hey, hi, Mo.
Hey, Mo.
That was a little thing we always did. Bob Hope. Everybody did Bob Hope. Now, guys, I really do want to step into the Wayback Machine, and we're auditioning for this show, Animaniacs. You guys are. What's the first thing that comes to your mind as you're walking in to audition for this show, Animaniacs? What was the audition day like for you?
You start, big brother.
You know, I got to tell you, Maurice, having worked with these fine folks on Tiny Toons for a few years before this, Tressa and I, we had not had the pleasure yet of knowing Mr. Harnell, but Tressa and I had known each other since about 1937 because Tress had just turned 60. And,
those were the days.
Yeah, so we talked about this, and we knew this was going to be a big deal because Mr. Spielberg was involved, and of course that's always Steven Spielberg, not the one you know, the guy that owns a chocolate shop in Van Nuys, Maury Spielberg. But anyway, we knew that Mr. Spielberg was involved, and that frankly they were going to spend a lot of money, and it was going to be a big musical show, and so we were quite aware that this was going to be quite a big deal.
Totally insane.
Here's a show's naming.
So you and Tress were veterans of Warner Brothers Animation, but this was the first time really any of us had encountered this rock star.
Well, you know, man, no, it's
known as Jess Harnell.
Mo, it was so strange, and it's like listening to Rob tell that story. I mean, you know, my whole life has been a case of ignorance being bliss, so it's great that I'm ignorant because I had no experience in voiceover at all, really. I mean, I'd kind of done some stuff for Disney, which I sort of fell into, and I didn't get called in directly by Warner Brothers because nobody knew me over there, but they had all these characters laid out on the floor. They said, you can read 5. Picked 5, did some sort of crazy, you know, wacky voice for Wacko that I guess was good enough to get me a callback. And the fun thing about Wacko coming about was it started off as this really kind of crazy cartoon voice, and then Miss Romano said to me, why don't you try one like Elvis? I know you do impressions. So I tried it like Elvis, and then she said, what about like a Beatle voice? So originally, at that audition, I just threw out like, you know, I was doing straight ahead, sort of like a John Lennon sort of thing, really, right? You know, I'm talking like this, and it was great, and that's how I did the audition. But then they showed me this picture of him, and I saw that he was like a little guy, so I just made his voice smaller, you know.
Now then, Wacko, let you and I talk,
Okay, good.
What's on your mind?
Oh, I got it, my hair.
Tress, your background is Groundlings and sketch comedy. How did you get into this whole voiceover thing?
Well, I was born doing voiceover. No,
What was your first cartoon?
it was Smurfs,
Oh, yeah.
and I played a baby giant. I thought, oh,
This is what we do, folks.
I can't get the easy part.
That makes me feel all kind of warm and squishy. Either that or I need to wear diapers.
And I have to tell you that having worked with a lot of people in this business for a long time, it is astonishing how rare it is to come across a talent like Ms. MacNeille, because she's pretty uniquely gifted.
Started off, you know, we were just doing this cartoon show, and then one day they came in and they said, hey, we got a song. We'd like to do a song, you know, and you guys all sing,
Stand
right?
back.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was like they were so, I don't know how, they didn't ask me at the auditions if I sang. I guess they knew that you guys did because they had history with you. But music ended up being such a big part of this show.
I knew so well that music was going to be a big part of this, and I've been a singer longer than anything, and I just really wanted to be part of it. Now,
Open for Bob Seger, okay?
yeah, baby.
Is that sweet?
I opened the door for Bob Seger.
Yeah,
I remember
nothing music.
Bob Seger said something to me I'll never forget. He looked at me in the eye and he said, "Who are you?"
I am the very model of a cartoon individual. My animation's comical, unusual, and whimsical. I'm quite adept at funny, just comedic theory. I have read from wicked puns and stupid jokes to anvils that drop my head.
Of course, Robbie won an Emmy Award, which is one thing that, and I always brag for my brother because I'm so proud.
We were very, very proud of Rob's winning the Emmy.
Wait till they get to the creamy filling.
we were aware of how lucky we were to be able to be working with the best folks on both sides of the glass, and then, up in the towers, and between having, Steven and his people, who, by the way, Mr. Spielberg approved all the scripts, was very involved in the casting.
Yes, absolutely.
We had Andrea Romano, Tom Ruger, Peter Hastings, Paul Rugg, John McCann, Sherry Stoner, everybody, and all the stars just went, and it was an amazing experience. And of course, we had the lovely and talented Maurice LaMarche, who is right there, quite incredibly gifted for a Canadian,
Yes,
Maurice,
my friend.
Maurice and I have
My friend
gone
of
on
brains.
to do many, many shows together as well, and I hope that we appreciated it.
Oh, boy.
Being in the room with all of those fabulous people, the very best voice talent that existed.
Yeah.
And we had a ball. We were like kids in school with our favorite teacher. We were there with Andrea Romano, and we laughed all day long. And Maurice has this exaggerated laugh.
Wow.
And every once in a while, when it was most inappropriate, he would laugh too hugely. And it just makes me laugh.
I have no idea of which you speak.
It's the
We just would make each other laugh and laugh and laugh, and some of the stuff you couldn't say in a cartoon. Use your imagination.
Though not much.
Not much.
No, we don't work blue.
No.
No.
Hey,
It's kind of a teal.
I'm
We
going
work
to give
teal.
you another Animaniacs secret, though. This is revealed for the first time publicly. Everybody always wanted to talk to me on those signing things about the burping. Everybody was always like, when you burp, you have to drink a lot of soda. And I go, well, what's really funny? I have a stunt burper. Because I did, because,
And who is it?
My stunt burper is the best in the business, and it's that gentleman right there.
That's right.
And I don't want to, Mo, I don't want to put you on the spot, and you're so well-dressed and handsome
Not
today.
at all.
But if you wouldn't mind, Mo, would you give us just a little example of the magic you used to do on my behalf?
Go to 0.
It takes a second to warm up.
Center, Mo.
Isn't that great? That's one
That
of
is
those.
a thing of beauty.
And the caption is what? And give up show business?
Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me.
You guys talked a little bit earlier about how special the music was to the show. Do any of you have a favorite song that your characters or yourselves still sing or enjoy?
Yeah, I do. I have one that
Mo.
people seem to like. Actually, I wanted to sing Layla, but since that's not really appropriate, that's one of my favorite songs.
Eric
But
Clapton. Hugely
probably,
litigious.
yeah, he can get that way. Probably what people want to hear is the one that sort of goes United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, and Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Tobago, San Juan, Paraguay, Uruguay, Suriname, and French Guiana, Barbados, and Guam.
The show's somewhat geographically obsessed. Wacko, you had a geography song too, right?
As a matter of fact, I did, Mo, my friend, and it went something
Along these lines. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Columbus is the capital of Ohio. There's Montgomery, Alabama, south of Helena, Montana. Then there's Denver, Colorado, and Boise, Idaho. Texas has Austin, then we go north to Massachusetts, Boston, and Albany, New York, Tallahassee, Florida, and Washington, D.C., Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Nashville, Tennessee. Elvis used to hang out there a lot,
Dot didn't have a geography song, but you were just
No,
cute.
yes,
you were just
it
cute.
was,
about
it
how
was, it
cute
was
you were.
autogeographical.
My most famous, the most famous of my many, many songs in the repertoire, pardon me about the shower, was I'm Cute. And
And it went something like.
I'm cute. Yes, it's true. Sing the rest.
She really can't help it, but what can you do when you're cute?
It just shows. Oh, shoot.
Isn't she
Cute,
cute? Oh, baby, she's cute.
cute, cute.
How about that, man? That's another one of those Randy Rogel songs.
There's another one.
It's wonderful.
And the fact is that it
It
was.
swung.
Life imitates art.
Oh, I'm not really attractive. I'm just drawn that way and recorded that way.
I'm the Warner sister.
You'd like her if you kissed her. We've served the 7 seas. Now it's time to catch some Z's. Hey!
Guys, this has been so much fun to
For
get
us
you
too,
guys
man.
together
Thank you, Mo.
again
Thank
and
you,
to be with
Mo.
you again. Thank you.
The funkiest of creatures in the whole wide world. Our next cartoon features Slappy the Squirrel.
Enough with the singing already.
That's Slappy.
Well, I'm here with Sherry Stoner, who is not only producer, but also writer and star of Animaniacs, specifically the character of Slappy Squirrel. Sherry, Slappy was essentially your creation, am I right?
Yeah.
I think the thing that set this show apart, if we can all toot our own horns, is that the characters were so strong. And I know Slappy was a very clearly defined character. The three Warner Brothers, or the Warner Brothers and their sister Dot, very strong characters. So do you feel your background helped you towards that?
Writing a short cartoon is not that different from writing a sketch. I mean, it has to have, you know, a good setup and then a very funny play out and then a very funny ending.
Okay, I'm ready for my ending.
You want it?
Ooh, yeah.
You really want it?
Yeah, give Freund Leven.
And action.
So your background is primarily groundlings and sketch comedy, and you get a call one day.
Yeah, well, actually, a friend of mine at the Groundlings, it was when Tiny Toons was just starting, actually. They were looking for a female writer to work on Babs at the time, and so I wrote a script and got hired at Warner Brothers.
So you're writing the show, you're writing Slappy Squirrel. How do you get them to use you as Slappy?
We were at a meeting at Amblin, and we were showing Stephen preliminary sketches of all the characters. And when it came time to talk about Slappy, I started doing the voice, you know. And she's like an old-time cartoon star, and he said that I should do the voice. And so that's how it happened. I owe it all to him. I'm going into a coma. Uh-oh, too late. I'm in a coma.
And she's kind of that Lucille Ball generation
Yeah,
kind of a character.
I just thought at the time that it would be fun to have a cartoon character who is actually, you know, old, because cartoon characters don't really age, and I just thought if she had all the dirt on all the old, you know, cartoon characters.
Look, you've seen all my old cartoons, right?
About 1 trillion times.
I wrestled with Walter Wolf, Sid the Squid, and Beanie the Brain-Dead Bison. This Doug guy here's nothing.
Yeah, but those were cartoons and this is real life.
Don't tell him. He might crack.
You talk about having the dirt on all the old characters. My favorite Slappy episode was Bumby's mom.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Was there a kid in your life who was upset when the other character from that other animation company, when that character's mother died, that inspired this?
Well, I just remember when I was a kid how disturbed I was after seeing that movie, and how, you know, I think everyone was terribly disturbed. And so I just thought it would be funny if Skippy was seeing the same sort of movie and couldn't get over the fact that this character was dead. But in fact, she wasn't. She was in, you know, a trailer park in the desert.
You must be careful on the meadow. There's no cover here from the hunters.
I will, Mommy. Mommy? Mommy, where are you? Bumpy's mother is...
Is it me? That Mama Dear was just an actress, Vina Wallin. We were pals. She used to date George Jetson. Look, have I ever lied to you before? I'm gonna take you to meet Bumpy's mom.
Bumpy's mom? She's...
It was a great moment when they meet up and Skippy doesn't quite recognize her, so you have Slappy say, do the turnaround, and she morphs. That happens to so many of us voice actors where Jess Harnell has a great story about a kid not believing it's him, even when he does the voice. So when she does that whole morphing thing, it's just hilarious.
What's with you?
That's not Bumpy's mom. She's old.
Tactless, yet rude. Hey, could you do a piece of the old Bumby bit for my nephew?
You must be careful on the meadow. There's no cover here from the hunters.
It is her! Bumby's mom!
Was it a really collaborative effort?
Yeah, and it was really fun. It was a really fun show to work on as a writer because we would all be in these offices and they were all sort of down one hallway. And if you were stuck for a joke on something you were working on, you would just go into somebody's office and sort of chat it up and, you know, maybe come up with an idea with that other person. So it was really fun. It felt sort of like, you know, like the Dick Van Dyke Show from TV, you know? We all got to work together. It was fun.
Well, it's been great getting together with you again and to have all of us together here doing this DVD box set. Thank you for being with us, Sherry.
You're welcome.
Now that's comedy.
I'm here with Julie and Steve Bernstein, who were composers and orchestrators on Animaniacs. Guys, it's great to see you again. What brought you to Animaniacs as composer?
Well, the late, great Richard Stone was the supervising composer for the show, and I had been working with Richard on Tasmania, and then Animaniacs came up, and he took me along.
And I had been going along on lunch with Tasmania, and he took me along as orchestrator.
Now, the thing that set Animaniacs and its ancillary shows apart, and including Tasmania and Pinky and the Brain, you guys used a live orchestra. You used an actual 35-piece orchestra for these shows.
Correct.
We sure did.
Nobody else was doing that.
Nope.
It started with Tiny Toon Adventures, I believe, the resurgence of this usage of the orchestra. And that's thanks to Mr. Spielberg. I think that he wanted to bring this kind of thing back.
And you actually used to record the music on the very same stage as a very famous Warner Brothers alumni.
That's right.
Carl Stalling.
And the same piano that they used, it was fantastic.
Now that's entertainment.
There was a resonance to that room that was really quite something. I got to attend a couple of recording sessions, and it sounded like a Warner Brothers cartoon in the studio, didn't it?
It absolutely did. It had that sound that room had at the time. It was that was before the renovation, and all the wood was still the same, and the piano was still the same, and the acoustics were identical. And you know, plus we were writing in the same style that Carl Stalling wrote in.
Tell us a little about the process of writing for animation. How would that differ, say, from writing for a live-action film?
I think it was a lot different in that there are so many points of synchronization that we would have to hit while maintaining the musical style and living within the realm of cartoon land. You know, somebody would be running in a certain tempo, and that would dictate the tempo of our music.
Hi, Butterfly.
A door would slam, and that would dictate a change in the music, or somebody would fall down, or something would fall on them, and all of that had to be caught in the music. And musically done. It would have to fall within a phrase.
Goodbye, nuts.
I gotcha.
Not.
You were talking a little bit about the casting of the music. Tell us more about how that worked.
For one reason or another, I was always given those, quote, very special episodes, unquote, which basically had no dialogue, which it kind of meant it was a 20-minute concert. Things like Wings Take Heart.
What's it like for a husband and wife team to collaborate on a process like this?
It
Go ahead.
becomes better and better. We have, for the past 6 years, actually sat next to each other and collaborated on writing.
Side by side at the keyboard, kind of arm wrestling for the G sharps.
Which is very interesting, and it's overall probably been good for the marriage somehow.
Steve and Julie Bernstein, thanks so much. It was great having you with us again. And
Hey, Mo.
Andrea
ya?
Romano. It's Andrea Romano. It's good
my
to
friend.
see you. Just talking to Steve and Julie Bernstein. You just missed them.
Frighteningly talented people.
They're amazing.
I love them so.
You know, it's funny doing something like this. I regret that I didn't ask them about the parodies. Remember all those great parodies that we used to do?
So very many parodies.
Wow.
They would take a song that was clearly recognizable and sort of invert it musically so that you could still tell what they were parodying, and it would be just brilliant.
West Side
Pigeon.
West Side Pigeons.
Clearly a West Side Story parody, Leonard Bernstein's music.
Right.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to fall in love. But we were always too busy being tough birds, fighting to protect our territory from the sparrows.
You know, there's certain actors who find obscure impressions to do. You know, everybody can do Frank Sinatra, everybody can do John Wayne, but every once in a while, something would happen, like this actor named Maurice LaMarche would say, hey, listen to my, Ray Liotta impression.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a good feather. You see, if you were a good feather, you had it all.
And then we went, oh, well, how perfect is that? Why don't we make, the good feathers rather than good fellas?
Well,
and then so you would do that.
That was pre-existent though. I remember walking in and remembering it being a tremendous coincidence. I had just eaten dinner next to Ray Liotta about 2 weeks before, and he says, "Do you guys mind if I smoke?" I said, no, go ahead, but please do. Oh, that's so nice. He just lights up, and we start talking about, the fact that it's their first date. So I absorbed him. He didn't know that, but I was using my magic impression powers to really take his personality so that when it came time to audition, I had already kind of...
Fantastic.
Listen, I'll do anything to be a good feather.
They're gonna tell him, then the burns now.
He says you're in.
Well, the Good Feathers were so fun, too, because there you have John Mariano, who does by far the best De Niro.
Amazing.
I mean, looks like him when he does it.
Yeah,
Can't
he just
help it.
channels him.
He totally does.
You're walking with me? Is that what you're doing? Are you walking with me? I don't see anybody else here.
And then Chick Venera, who was one of the funniest Joe Pesci type voices. Now,
He's that way anyway.
I know.
He sounds like that anyway.
Exactly.
He just had to
It's not doing an impression.
Just a bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
He wasn't even doing an impression. He was just playing the
take it up
character.
a half step.
Fat Jolly slobbering all over me over here.
Maybe he thinks you're cute, you know what I'm saying?
Cute? You think I'm cute? That's it. Cute? I'll show you cute. You want cute? Here's your cute. You diva.
So, casting Animaniacs.
Casting Animaniacs is one of those awesome responsibilities. Every once in a while, something like this comes up where you just say, this is going to be a gem. It's going to be a big responsibility to make it be as good as what already has been established in just the development materials. And so you're looking at these character designs, and I think that helped the actors, too. When Frank Welker was able to see what Runt looked like, in the Rita and Runt segments. We had cast an actress as the voice of Rita, and it was all set, ready to go. Didn't have to audition. She was a singer. We knew her. She was a popular singer at the time.
Right.
And a week before the session, she dropped out. A week before the first show, she dropped out.
Wow.
And so we
And
were
she shall
kinda-
remain nameless, I assume.
I was trying to find not only someone who could act and sing, but we wanted someone with some cachet and someone who would be really fun for the show and someone who would also appreciate what Frank Welker has to bring to playing the voice of Ron. And so on a Saturday, I am sitting with Tom Ruger, the producer, in my office, paging through the players directory, trying to find an actress who can sing, who would be a good match with Frank Welker and that Steven Spielberg would know and like. And so I go through and we find maybe 5 or 6 actresses that fit the bill and then run them by Steven. Saturday afternoon, calling on the phone, Steven, what do you think of, blah, 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 blah. And number 1 on my list was Bernadette Peters, whom I've always adored. Just a beautiful voice.
Out here in the shadows and out here, there's a promised land out here. We'll all understand and make this place our home. This place our home.
You have all these tiny little segments that each have their own personality. You have Rita and Runt, you have Pinky and the Brain. We have Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, very important characters that were meant to sort of tie everything together. They would run through shots of other cartoons.
Taxi. Taxi.
We kind of knew who we wanted to play Yakko. We had worked with Rob Paulson before on a couple of other series, and we knew we wanted him to play Yakko. And so we had to submit multiple takes to Mr. Spielberg because, that's what you do with a producer. And we sent him 5 different auditions. 3 of them were Rob Paulson.
Slow down! Why? Everyone else is rushing around here. I don't write them, I just say them.
We had no trouble casting Dot. Tress MacNeille was just hilarious and cute and funny, and yet that edge.
Hello, Mr. Lethal Weapon. Did you miss me?
Talk a little bit about the Steven Spielberg influence, because we know that it lent a lot of cachet to the show, but he was truly involved.
Amazingly, you never know when somebody is going to produce a show like that, how much they will be involved. Steven came up with story ideas. Steven read storyboards. Steven, would come to recording sessions occasionally. He was very hands-on with that series, and he was a pleasure. He didn't really fight us. He just sort of said, go for it. He let us all creatively do what we do the best, and that was terrific.
I still don't know what to paint in this blank space, and His Eminence will be here any minute.
It's His Eminence! His Eminence!
Look, it's His Eminence!
His Eminence is coming!
Gadzooks, His Eminence!
Don't worry, Mike. You go say howdy, we'll finish up.
Your Eminence! I'm so glad you could come. I've worked so hard to please you. I hope you like my ceiling. Ah! I'm ruined!
I like it.
Hey, Mikey, he likes it. Painting is like show business. You have to know your audience.
Well, it was great to just all of us to work together. It was great working with you.
My
Thank
pleasure
you so much, and
entirely.
thanks for coming by.
Really
It's
good to
great.
see you again. Thanks for
you.
having me.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us on this special edition DVD of Animaniacs. From all of us at Animaniacs and Warner Brothers Animation, I'm Maurice LaMarche.